Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. So today I'm going to continue on with another film on my list of films I needed to watch. So today I'm reviewing Akira Kurosawa's classic Ran. The story is adapted from Shakespeare's King Lear, combining with an ancient Japanese legend of three arrows. This combination moves the bard's tragedy into distinctive new territory. Lear's daughters are now sons, and the emphasis is on revenge rather than catharsis. So it has a lot of that Japanese sort of feel to it. And because it's a subtitled film, a lot of the Shakespearean dialogue is written plainly, so you understand what they're talking about, what they're saying, where a lot of the sort of Shakespeare sort of books and stuff and plays is really hard to comprehend a lot of what they're talking about. And this sort of makes it a bit easier to understand the story. So look, I enjoyed this. Visually it was quite extraordinary. It was all practical, it was all shot out on location, this beautiful countryside, the castles are fantastic, there's some great set pieces in it, and it's visually striking in so many ways with the colours that are used, with the battle sequences and a variety of other things. And it's a really powerful film to watch in that regard. It reminded me a lot of David Lean's sort of film, especially Lawrence of Arabia. Just the scope and the grandeur of the film sort of is very similar to Lawrence of Arabia in many ways. Akira Kurosawa is a true master of filmmaking. I haven't seen a lot of his films. It's probably the fourth one in his filmography that I've seen, and there's a variety of others I really want to get my hands on. But this was the one film that was in the 1001 movies you must see before you die, as well as Seven Samurai. But this is the one that everyone talked about. This was a big film that he made that was very successful at the time, and I really wanted to see what he was able to accomplish. So this film was made in 1985 when he was turning 75 and slowly losing his eyesight. It was a film he always wanted to make, but the producer, he could never find a producer who wanted to make it because of the sad and tragic end that this particular story has. But he's finally able to make it, and what an astonishing film he made. He was 75 years of age and making this extraordinary grand film that is probably, besides Seven Samurai, the most known film he's ever made. And it's quite extraordinary he was able to accomplish what he did with this film. I really like the Japanese aspect to it and the story he's telling with that sort of the Japanese folklore legend, Three Arrows. I'm kind of interested in that. I want to learn more about it. And I think he's such a brilliant director that I really want to watch more of his films. Going into this film, I didn't really know much about the King Lear play that Shakespeare wrote. I didn't really know a lot about it. And I find with movies like this, if I know more about what the story is about, I can follow it a lot easier. With this one, I struggled a little bit. So that's probably the only criticism I have. I found the story itself a little complicated. There's a lot of characters, there's a lot of storylines, a lot of things going on. I couldn't remember particular characters' names, and I couldn't work out a lot of what was going on. As Western film viewers, I guess, and film goers, we're used to such a subtle way of explaining things, where this is sort of really shows you. So the three brothers, and each one is represented by a different colour and a different army that you see within the film. And that's something that took me a while to comprehend. But that's all I would say about it, is the criticism I have. I love the look and feel of it. I love how big it is. I love its practical and shot on locations. I love these guys riding horses and getting shot off them, and they're really people doing it, really stuntmen and actors. It's a very tragic story and very full on with what it's talking about. And it's really looking at the ego and trying to be bigger and better than everybody. There's three real standouts for me in this film. Three characters I really connected to and thought each of the actors did a fantastic and brilliant job. He has one son, Saburo, which is a very interesting character because he goes against what his father's decided. After his father's had this particular dream, he decides to hand off his kingdom to his eldest son. And Saburo doesn't like this, doesn't think it's a very good idea, and doesn't think that the son he's chosen is the right person to run the kingdom. And because of this speaking up, he's ultimately excommunicated. He's thrown out of the sort of family, and his father's very disappointed in him and finds him very disrespectful for saying what he says, even though he's trying to look out for the best interests of his father and his family. And he's sort of thrown out and taken in by this other family, another kingdom, and becomes the leader of their particular army. I thought he was such an interesting character. He's the only one of the sons who didn't want anything except his father's love and respect. and for his father to forgive him for speaking out. And this is really an interesting part of this particular character, who doesn't want anything, where the other two brothers are fighting each other and just want to take control of everything and are going against each other and each other's armies and just carrying on quite a bit. But I thought his character was really interesting. The other character I really liked was Lady Kadei, I think it is pronounced, played by Miko Haradara. And she's an interesting character because she's all about manipulation. She controls she ultimately plays the first son's wife. So she plays Taro's wife. And she's very manipulative and has desires and wants to accomplish particular things. She ultimately wants to tear down the kingdom that's created, because her husband's father was the one who destroyed her family and killed her family and burnt down her castle and destroyed the life that she came from. So she's really revengeful and wants to take revenge and wants to take control, and she manipulates Taro and his brother Tango throughout the film, just to push them to accomplish her goals, what she wants to do. And I think this is quite extraordinary. She does a fantastic job. She sort of reminds me of Scarlett O'Hara from Gone with the Wind, that she'll do anything she can or has to survive, to make sure she's not destitute or thrown out into the street. And this is ultimately, you get to see this unfold in the film. And she plays quite a conniving and controlling character that you're just blown away by her performance. Watching her create this character and bring this character to life is quite extraordinary. And the other standout is ultimately the Lord Haitara. He's absolutely fantastic. He steals every scene he's in and every moment, and he plays this character with such strength and determination, regret and anger and frustration. It's just brilliant to watch him perform this. And ultimately he plays like the King Lear, whose slow descent into madness is quite extraordinary. The makeup is very heavy on him, but he gives such a powerful and towering performance. It's worth watching this film just for his performance. He's so great and lives in such regret and has so many great scenes with his sons and the wives of his son, especially the character Sue, who he killed ultimately their family, and her and her brother are the only ones still alive, and he even burnt the kingdom down. And she's such a follower of Buddha that she is forgiving and understanding and tries to accept what transpired. And he hates that. He'd rather her hate him than to be the way she is. And I really like these particular scenes. And his slow descent into madness is fantastic. And you just watch him just slowly lose his grip on reality and think he's ultimately in hell. And he sort of loses his mind quite a bit after being cast out by his sons and losing everything in a fire. That is just extraordinary to watch him perform these scenes, and such a power to him. And these scenes where he doesn't say anything, but he's so fantastic to watch. And what really stands out for me in this film is the battle sequences. There's one battle that takes place between the two brothers' armies within this castle, and it's just extraordinary to watch. Kurosawa decides to not have any sound. It's just a piece of music over the top, and we just see everything transpire. It's sort of lucent, like a dream, and it's sort of brutal and powerful, but sort of beautiful in a way as well. The way it's sort of like a ballet, the way it's choreographed and the sequences that take place and the violence that happens within the scene is quite powerful to watch. And he's really you can tell he's a really master of his craft. And his films, he was able to capture what he wanted to say, and he did it in such a unique and interesting way. You can't help be captivated by what you're watching here. Everything about this film I really like visually. It's a film and a story I really like to know a lot more about. And due to feeling a bit lost, it's a film I think I need to watch again or understand a bit better to get as much out of this as I really wanted to. Final verdict. Look, if you're a fan of Akira Kurosawa, if you've never seen one of his films, or if you're a film lover, I highly recommend this film. You definitely need to watch it. I think it's a great example of pure grand filmmaking at its best. I'm going to give Akira Kurosawa's Ran 4 out of 5. I thought it was a solid film, visually striking, some really great characters and some interesting ideas. And the execution of this film was absolutely brilliant and well crafted by a well-seasoned and fantastic director in Kurosawa. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit subscribe down the bottom. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.